Most men believe attraction is built with words. They're wrong, and that mistake quietly costs them the connection they want most. Listen to me carefully. A hug is not a throwaway moment. It is not a greeting. It is not a polite gesture you rush through. A hug is a psychological event. For a few seconds, her nervous system decides something about you that no text message, no compliment, no date ever fully overrides. In that moment, her body answers a question her mind hasn't even finished asking yet. Do I feel safe here, or do I feel something more? I'm going to speak to you as a psychologist, but also as a woman who understands how these moments are actually felt, not how men assume they're felt. Because what changes attraction in a hug has nothing to do with force, dominance, or technique the internet has cheapened into advice. It has everything to do with presence, intention, and restraint. And most men get this wrong in the same predictable ways. Here's the truth you were never taught. Women read touch the way men read tone. Subtle shifts matter, timing matters, where your attention is matters. When you hug her, her body is scanning for cues long before your arms even close. Your breathing, your posture, the pace of your movement, these all speak before your hands do. And if those signals are anxious, rushed, needy, or performative, the hug collapses emotionally before it ever begins. Attraction does not ignite when a man tries to take something from a hug. It ignites when she feels that he is fully there, without needing anything from her in that moment. That's the paradox. The men who try the hardest to do it right are often the ones whose touch feels empty, because it's driven by outcome, not connection. Let me slow this down for you. When you step into a hug, your body is making a promise. You are saying, without words, I can hold space without taking control. Most men fail right here. They tighten too fast. They lean too hard. They collapse their chest forward as if trying to absorb reassurance. To her nervous system, this doesn't feel strong. It feels uncertain. And uncertainty shuts attraction down. A hug that changes attraction begins before contact. It begins with how you approach her space. Calm, unhurried, grounded. Your feet planted, your shoulders relaxed, your spine upright but not stiff. This posture tells her something critical. This man is comfortable in himself. Women don't consciously analyze this, but their bodies feel it instantly. Then comes the moment most men misunderstand, the pause. Yes, the pause. Right before your arms close, there is a fraction of a second where you let the hug happen instead of forcing it. This micro moment gives her nervous system a sense of choice. And choice is one of the deepest drivers of attraction. When a woman feels she is being met rather than pulled, her body softens, and softness is where emotional openness lives. Now let's talk about pressure, because this is where attraction quietly shifts. A weak hug communicates hesitation. An overly tight hug communicates need or control. The hug that changes attraction sits in the middle, firm enough to feel intentional, relaxed enough to feel safe. Your arms don't clamp, they settle. Your hands don't roam, they rest. Stillness here is more powerful than movement. There is a reason for this. The female nervous system is highly responsive to rhythm. Sudden movements spike alertness. Smooth, steady pressure lowers defenses. When you hold her with consistency, not squeezing, not adjusting, not fidgeting, you tell her body, nothing unpredictable is about to happen. And when a woman feels safe, attraction has room to grow. Here's something men rarely hear, but I want you to really absorb it. Sexual tension is not created by doing more. It is created by doing less, with control. If your hands immediately start shifting, rubbing, or exploring, her attention snaps to your intention. And the moment she feels you're trying to extract a reaction, the emotional spell breaks. But when your hands stay calm, when your body doesn't rush, her awareness turns inward. She becomes aware of her own sensations, her own breath, her own response. And that's where attraction deepens, inside her, not because of you trying to manufacture it. Breathing matters here more than you think. If your breath is shallow or fast, her body mirrors that tension. If your breath is slow and steady, her nervous system begins to sync with yours. This is not romantic language. This is neuroscience. Humans co-regulate through proximity. When you breathe calmly during a hug, you become an anchor. And anchors are attractive because they promise emotional stability. Now let me address eye-level energy, because this is subtle but powerful. When you hug her, your chest should remain open, not puffed up, not collapsed inward, open. This signals confidence without aggression, your chin neutral, your neck relaxed. This alignment tells her you are not trying to impress, dominate, or disappear. You are simply present, and presence is magnetic. Many men mistake attraction for intensity. They think more intensity equals more desire, but intensity without grounding feels unsafe. What women respond to is contained intensity, the sense that there is depth there, but it's under control. A hug is one of the fastest ways to communicate that you have depth and discipline at the same time. Let's talk about duration, because timing changes everything. A hug that's too short feels dismissive. A hug that lingers too long feels invasive. The sweet spot is when you release just as her body begins to relax into yours. This tells her something important. You are attentive, not needy. You felt the connection, and you trusted it enough to let go. That release is where attraction quietly spikes, because it leaves emotional residue. Her body remembers the comfort and the restraint, and restraint is deeply attractive because it suggests choice, not impulse. There's another layer here that most men never consider: your emotional state before the hug. If you enter a hug hoping it will validate you, reassure you, or move things forward, that hunger leaks into your touch. Women feel it even if they can't name it. But if you enter the hug already grounded, already okay, already whole, the touch becomes a gift rather than a request. And gifts are received very differently than demands. I want to be very clear about something to protect both you and her. Attraction that grows from touch must always be rooted in consent and awareness. A hug is an invitation, not a strategy. If her body stiffens, if she doesn't reciprocate, if she pulls away, listen. Attraction cannot be forced, and trying to override her signals doesn't create desire. It destroys trust. The men who women feel safest with and most drawn to are the ones who respond to subtle feedback without ego. That responsiveness is itself attractive. It says, I see you, I respect you, I'm not here to overpower you. And here's the deeper truth most advice never tells you. The hug that changes attraction doesn't make her think about you sexually in that moment. It makes her feel emotionally settled with you. And emotional settlement is what opens the door to everything else. When a woman feels regulated, seen, and unpressured, her mind begins to associate you with calm and warmth. Over time, that association deepens into desire, not because you pushed it there, but because you created the conditions for it to grow. This is why some men leave a woman thinking about them long after a simple goodbye hug, and other men, despite saying and doing more, leave no emotional trace at all. Attraction is not about doing something dramatic. It's about being someone steady. If you take nothing else from this, remember this line: your touch should feel like an offer, not an agenda. When you understand that, a hug stops being a moment you rush through and becomes a moment that quietly changes how she feels around you, and that is where real attraction begins.
Now I want to take you deeper, past technique, past posture, past pressure, and into the part of attraction most men never realize they are influencing during a hug: her emotional memory. You see, women don't store connection the way men do. Men often remember moments visually or situationally. Women remember states, how they felt in your presence, how their body reacted before their mind had words. And a hug, when done with awareness, becomes a memory imprint. It quietly trains her nervous system to associate you with a specific emotional experience. This is where attraction either compounds or quietly fades. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men have never been told. A hug does not exist in isolation. It either reinforces the emotional story she already has about you, or it rewrites it. If she sees you as uncertain, your hug will feel uncertain. If she sees you as grounded, your hug will deepen that perception. Touch doesn't create attraction out of nothing. It amplifies what's already there. This is why copying moves never works long term. When you hug her, her body is asking a different question than you think. She is not asking, does he want me? She already knows that. She's asking, how does he handle closeness? Because closeness reveals character faster than conversation ever could. Does he rush intimacy because he's afraid of losing it? Does he hesitate because he's afraid of being seen? Or does he remain steady because he trusts himself? Your body answers these questions before you ever open your mouth. Let me explain something critical about female psychology that rarely gets said clearly. For many women, attraction rises when a man can enter closeness without losing himself. That's the core signal. A hug becomes a test, not consciously, but biologically, of how you regulate emotion under intimacy. If your shoulders tense, if your breath shortens, if your body tightens as soon as contact happens, her nervous system picks up on it. It reads, "This man is bracing." And bracing suggests fear of closeness, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. None of that creates attraction. But when your body stays open and relaxed during contact, you send a very different signal. I can be close without collapsing or controlling. That's rare. And rarity is attractive. Now let's talk about where most men unknowingly sabotage themselves, the emotional intention behind the hug. Many men hug with a silent question in their body. Is this working? Does she feel it? Is she attracted now? That question creates tension, and tension disrupts connection. The moment you monitor her reaction instead of staying present, you leave the moment emotionally, even though your arms are still there. Women feel that absence immediately. A hug that changes attraction happens when your attention is inside the experience, not outside evaluating it. You're not checking for signs. You're not waiting for reassurance. You're simply there. And that presence allows her to drop into her own body instead of staying in her head. Here's something I want you to really sit with. Attraction grows when a woman feels permission to feel without being watched, measured, or pressured. When your touch feels observational, she becomes self-conscious. When it feels accepting, she relaxes. And relaxation is what allows desire to form naturally, rather than defensively. This is why confidence is not loud. It's quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't rush. It doesn't prove. It simply exists. Let's talk about the emotional frame you bring into a hug, because this is the invisible part most men miss. If you approach a hug as a way to progress things, it carries a transactional energy. Her body feels that expectation. But if you approach it as a shared moment, complete in itself, it feels generous. And generosity is disarming. It lowers defenses instead of triggering them. This doesn't mean you hide desire. It means you don't chase it in the moment. Desire that isn't chasing is far more powerful than desire that's trying to be seen. Now I want to address something delicate but important, the difference between sexual tension and emotional safety. Many men think they are opposites. They are not. Emotional safety is the container that allows sexual tension to exist without fear. Without that container, tension feels risky rather than exciting. During a hug, emotional safety is communicated through consistency. Your arms don't hesitate. Your body doesn't pull back emotionally while staying physically close. You don't send mixed signals. Mixed signals are one of the fastest ways to dissolve attraction. A woman's nervous system craves coherence. What your body says, your breath says, and your energy says all need to match. When they do, her body relaxes into trust. And trust is what allows attraction to deepen over time instead of burning out quickly. Let me explain something about endings, because endings are just as powerful as beginnings. How you release a hug matters more than most men realize. If you pull away abruptly, it feels like disconnection. If you linger while she's already disengaging, it feels like intrusion. But when you release with the same calm intention you entered with, you leave her nervous system regulated rather than confused. Confusion kills attraction. Clarity nourishes it. When you step back from a hug grounded and unhurried, you communicate emotional self-sufficiency. You show that you enjoyed the moment, but you're not dependent on it. That balance is deeply attractive because it suggests emotional maturity. Now let's address a common misunderstanding. Some men believe that if a hug doesn't immediately escalate into more touch, it failed. That belief alone sabotages attraction because it turns connection into performance. The truth is, the most powerful hugs often don't escalate anything in the moment, but they change how she feels later. She'll notice that she felt calmer around you, more open, more herself. And those feelings don't disappear when you leave. They linger. They influence how she thinks about you when you're not there. That's where attraction actually grows. Women don't fall for moments. They fall for patterns of emotional experience. If every interaction with you leaves her nervous system slightly more settled, slightly more open, slightly more curious, attraction compounds quietly and deeply. Let me be very clear about boundaries here, because this matters. A hug that changes attraction is always responsive, never imposed. If she keeps her arms light, you mirror that. If she pulls away quickly, you respect it fully. Attraction cannot be negotiated with pressure. It can only be invited through safety and presence. The men women trust most are the men who don't punish boundaries, emotionally or physically. That trust becomes the soil where attraction grows. And here's the final layer I want you to understand in this section. Your ability to hold emotional steadiness during physical closeness tells a woman how you will handle emotional closeness later. If you are grounded in a hug, she unconsciously assumes you may be grounded during conflict, vulnerability, and intimacy. If you are anxious in a hug, she assumes anxiety will show up elsewhere too. So a hug is not small. It's a preview, not of sex, but of emotional experience. And women are always choosing partners based on emotional experience, even when they say otherwise. If you learn to treat touch not as a tactic, but as a language of calm confidence, something shifts. You stop trying to make attraction happen and start becoming the kind of presence attraction naturally moves toward. That is the difference between men who are briefly desired and men who are deeply remembered. Now, I want to tell you something most men never hear, because it contradicts nearly everything you've been conditioned to believe about attraction, masculinity, and touch. The hug that changes attraction is not about making her feel something about you. It's about making her feel something about herself when she's with you. This is where psychology becomes uncomfortable, because it means you're not the center of the experience. Her internal state is. And men who understand this stop chasing reactions and start creating environments where attraction grows without force. Let me explain. When a woman enters physical closeness, especially something as intimate as a hug, her nervous system does a rapid internal scan, not of you, but of herself. Do I feel calm? Do I feel guarded? Do I feel open? Do I feel tense? And then her mind assigns those feelings to the context. If she feels calm with you, you become associated with calm. If she feels pressure with you, you become associated with pressure. Most men try to generate attraction by adding stimulation, more intensity, more touch, more escalation. But attraction deepens when a woman feels regulated in your presence, because regulation feels rare in a world full of emotional noise. Here's something crucial you need to understand. A regulated man is deeply attractive, not because he is exciting, but because he is stabilizing. And stabilization allows desire to unfold without fear. During a hug, regulation is communicated through how little you need the moment to go a certain way. The less you emotionally cling to outcome, the safer her nervous system feels. And the safer it feels, the more room there is for attraction to expand. Let's talk about your hands, because this is where most men unknowingly give themselves away. Your hands should feel settled, not searching. Searching hands communicate uncertainty. They say, I'm trying to find the right spot. Settled hands say, I know where I am. That difference is subtle, but women feel it immediately. There is power in stillness. When your hands rest calmly, without adjusting or exploring, you allow her body to notice the contact on its own terms. Her attention moves inward instead of outward. She becomes aware of warmth, pressure, breath, and awareness is the gateway to emotional and physical attraction. Men often underestimate how sensitive women are to micro movements. A slight squeeze, a nervous shift, a hand that tightens and loosens, it all communicates emotional states. Calm hands communicate calm mind, and calm mind suggests emotional maturity. Now I want to address something most men feel but rarely admit: Fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being seen as weak. Fear of not doing enough. That fear leaks into touch. When fear is present, touch becomes performative. You try to do it right. You try to make it memorable. But the irony is that the more you try to control the moment, the less emotionally impactful it becomes. Women don't want to feel like a moment is being managed. They want to feel like it's unfolding naturally. A hug that changes attraction feels unforced. It feels inevitable rather than strategic. And inevitability comes from self-trust, not technique. Here's a psychological truth I want you to sit with. Attraction is not sparked by effort. It's sparked by congruence. When what you feel, what you intend, and what your body expresses are aligned, women feel it as authenticity. And authenticity is magnetic because it removes guesswork. There's no confusion about who you are or how you feel in that moment. Confusion drains attraction. Clarity feeds it. Now let's talk about emotional containment, because this is where mature masculinity shows itself most clearly. Containment does not mean suppression. It means you can feel desire, warmth, affection, and still remain grounded. You don't spill emotion into the moment. You hold it calmly. And that containment creates tension in the healthiest way. Think of it like this. A river with no banks floods and loses direction. A river with strong banks flows powerfully. Your emotional containment during a hug is what gives attraction its shape. Without it, everything spills out too fast and loses intensity. This is why women are often drawn to men who seem calm even when closeness increases. Calmness under intimacy suggests emotional resilience, and emotional resilience feels safe. Let me say something that may challenge you. A woman doesn't want to feel like she has to take care of you emotionally during physical closeness. The moment she senses that your stability depends on her reaction, attraction shifts into caution. But when you can hold closeness without asking anything from her, without needing reassurance, validation, or escalation, you create a space where she can simply be. And being without pressure is incredibly attractive. Now let's talk about emotional leadership. Leadership in touch doesn't mean control, it means clarity. You know when to enter, you know when to hold, you know when to release, and you do all three without hesitation or apology. Indecision is felt physically. If your body doesn't know whether it wants to stay or go, her body feels that confusion, and confusion creates distance. But when your actions are clear and grounded, her nervous system relaxes into trust. Trust doesn't mean she's ready for more immediately. It means she's open to you emotionally. And emotional openness is the foundation of lasting attraction. There's another mistake men often make that I want to gently but firmly correct. Some men believe sexual tension must always be escalating, but true tension breathes. It rises and settles. It expands and contracts. A hug that ends calmly without trying to push further often creates more desire than one that tries to do too much. Why? Because it leaves space. Space invites imagination. Space allows her to process how she felt. Space lets her want more on her own terms rather than reacting to pressure. Pressure creates resistance. Space creates curiosity. Now I want you to understand the role of self-respect in attraction, because it shows up powerfully in moments of touch. When you respect yourself, you don't overstay moments. You don't cling. You don't extract. You allow connection to exist, and then you step back with dignity. That dignity is felt. And it changes how women perceive you. A man who can enjoy closeness and then calmly release it communicates abundance, not of women, but of inner stability. He doesn't act like this moment is the only one that matters. And paradoxically, that makes the moment matter more. Let me speak directly to you for a moment. If you've ever felt like women pull away just when you think things are going well, it's often not because you did too little. It's because you did too much, too soon, with too much emotional weight attached. A hug can reveal that weight instantly. But the good news is this: when you remove pressure, when you ground yourself, When you treat touch as shared experience rather than achievement, attraction stops feeling fragile. It stops feeling like something you might break if you move the wrong way. You become steady, and steadiness is rare, and rare things are valued. The hug that changes attraction doesn't scream confidence. It whispers it. It doesn't chase desire. It allows desire to find you. And when a woman experiences that kind of presence, it doesn't just affect how she feels in the moment. It reshapes how she thinks about closeness with you in the future. She remembers how she felt in your arms. She remembers how calm her body became. She remembers that nothing was demanded of her. And those memories quietly work on attraction long after the hug ends. Now I want to bring everything together, because if you understand this final layer, a hug stops being something you do and becomes something you embody. This is the part no one teaches men, because it can't be packaged into tricks or shortcuts. The hug that permanently changes attraction comes from who you are before you touch her. Not your looks, not your status, not your words, your emotional posture. Women are constantly reading one silent question in men, even during something as simple as a hug. Is this man at peace with himself, or is he trying to borrow peace from me? That question decides everything. A man who is at peace does not grip moments. He does not cling to closeness. He does not treat touch like a scarce opportunity. His body says, I'm fine whether this lasts or ends. And that emotional independence is deeply attractive because it removes pressure without removing desire. Let me say something that may shift how you see attraction forever. A woman is most drawn to a man when she feels free with him, not responsible for him. During a hug, if she senses, even subtly, that she's being asked to reassure you, respond a certain way, or validate your worth, attraction contracts. Her body moves into management mode, and management kills desire. But when your hug carries no request, no hunger, no expectation, her body relaxes. And relaxed bodies are open bodies. This is where many men get confused. They think confidence is about intensity. They think masculinity is about control. They think attraction is about escalation. But true confidence is emotional self-containment. True masculinity is calm presence. True attraction is created when she feels safe enough to feel everything. A hug becomes powerful when it feels like a pause from the world, not a pull toward obligation. Now, I want you to understand something very important about timing. The hug that changes attraction is often the one where nothing else happens afterward. No push, no move, no attempt to turn it into more. Why? Because it tells her something rare. This man trusts the connection. He doesn't need to squeeze value out of the moment. He lets it stand on its own. That trust plants a seed. Later, sometimes hours later, sometimes days, she notices something. She felt calm with you, seen, unrushed, unpressured, and those feelings don't fade, they grow, because her nervous system associates you with emotional ease, and emotional ease is addictive. Here's another truth men are rarely told. Desire grows fastest in spaces where a woman doesn't feel watched. If, during a hug, she feels observed, like her reaction is being evaluated, she stays guarded. But if she feels accepted without measurement, she relaxes into her own experience. And when a woman relaxes into her own experience, attraction becomes self-generated. You didn't make her feel anything. You simply didn't block what was already possible. This is why some men don't need to chase. Women move toward them naturally, not because they're manipulative, but because they're emotionally grounded. Now let's talk about self-trust, because it's the invisible foundation beneath all of this. When you trust yourself, you don't rush intimacy. You don't fear silence. You don't overcompensate with touch. Your body moves slowly because your mind isn't panicking about outcome. Self-trust shows up as patience, and patience feels powerful because it suggests you're not afraid of time. During a hug, patience feels like steadiness. Your arms don't tighten prematurely. Your breath doesn't change suddenly. Your presence doesn't flicker. And that steadiness gives her nervous system permission to let go. Let me be clear about something. This is not about being passive. This is not about hiding desire. This is about containing desire. Contained desire feels strong. Uncontained desire feels desperate. Women don't run from desire, they run from desperation. And desperation is not about wanting, it's about needing. When your hug communicates want without need, attraction deepens safely. Here's a powerful reframe I want you to adopt. Instead of asking, "Did that hug change anything?" ask, "Did I stay grounded in myself during it?" If the answer is yes, you did it right, regardless of outcome. Because attraction is not controlled by single moments. It's shaped by consistent emotional experience. And the experience you're offering is calm, clarity, and respect. Now I want to leave you with a question, one that matters far more than technique. The next time you hug a woman, ask yourself silently, am I present or am I performing? Am I offering connection or am I asking for reassurance? Because the answer to that question determines whether your touch builds attraction or quietly dissolves it. Attraction doesn't respond to effort. It responds to emotional stability. And the man who understands that stops chasing moments and starts becoming unforgettable. Now let me ask you something personal. When you hug someone you're attracted to, do you feel calm and grounded inside? Or do you feel tense, hoping it leads somewhere? Write your honest answer in the comments. If this shifted how you see attraction, like the video. Subscribe for deeper truths about female psychology and relationships, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it, because most men were never taught this, and it changes everything.